I don't know if I can handle concealing myself for you any longer. I feel as though I am denying you simply by omitting your presence in my life. I don't know what... Hello?
I want to ask you a question. When did all this start for you? Did you laugh a little too hard during one of the Medicare streams I assigned you? Or did you join the FBI with the sole purpose of defending a bunch of far-right incels?
The internet is where religion goes to die. Internet culture has always been known for its starkly atheist nature, but the rise in conservative ideas over the past few years has sparked a shift in this once set-in-stone philosophy. Some may consider it a stretch for me to say this, but I argue that there is one man that can be thanked for this sudden interest in Christianity, a one Shlomo Villalobos.
See, the European style of butter, it's made with utter cultural failure and unwarranted self-importance.
The story of Common Filth begins in 2014 with a Facebook page previously titled Full House Memes. The page had become dedicated to documenting the cultural death of the United States and Western Europe. His posts often prompted his followers to ask foolish questions like, "Wait, you don't actually oppose this behavior, do you?" His honesty typically resulted in a chain of furious and defensive comments, ripe with situation ethics. However, CF did manage to garner a small fanbase parallel to this negative feedback, and this tiny slice of fame led him to create the Common Filth YouTube channel.
No trigger warnings and a whole lot of mansplaining. Welcome to Common Filth Radio episode 13. Thank you so much for listening.
Despite the fact that he had started with his long-form Common Filth Radio episodes, it was his shorter series like Tumblristas and Vine Marathons that really grew his following. The Vine Marathons being compilations of obnoxious liberal teenagers voicing their angst to the world.
A message to homophobes. I may not have a dick, but suck it.
Some men have vaginas, some women have dicks. Respect people's pronouns, you ignorant pricks.
And Tumblristas being readings of the most depraved posts found on the once infamous Tumblr.com.
Why are there so many straight couples? Because life is made up of more than consciousness and coming without consequence. Me introduces self as dead name. Me screams. I also understand how hard it is to remember and internalize shit I picked up from the internet a couple of weeks ago. Bobby Flay is literally me when people try to explain why homosexuality, Planned Parenthood, things I'm obsessed with, etc. are bad. You're obsessed with butt fucking and baby killing. I just farted in my dad's room to get back at him for all those times he told me no.
His new subscribers slowly began to view his radio show and participate in his subreddit Q&As, and CFR was where he expressed the majority of his views in detail, including his faith. His unapologetic piety separated him from the useless anti-SJW crowd.
My most favorite subject to go against, because it's the prevailing religion ideology of the millennial generation, is equality. I'm very against equality, and not in the way that you think. Equality of opportunity, or rather equality of treatment, in the eyes of the law. I have no problems with this. I have no problems with a murder sentence being the same for one group of people as it is for another. However, we are now seeing this notion of equality being applied to that which should not welcome it. Through a sick, endless game of cultural telephone, this equality under the law, equal treatment under the law, now means, oh, well, I should be able to get married to whoever I want to. I should get paid the same amount regardless of the amount of work I put in. The problem of applying equality to things which either do not require it or where it is completely inappropriate to apply it to.
He wasn't arguing that the beliefs of leftists were good but poorly executed. He was outright stating that their ideology was flawed by its very nature.
Fuck the right. Fuck the left. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of politics. I'm sick of meta-politics. You know, I was once upon a time of the opinion that, well, it's okay if you're this kind of sinful, hedonistic piece of shit, as long as you have the right opinions. I have found that the godless, despite whatever correct political opinions they might have, are always unreliable.
I personally found his open discussion of Christianity to be intriguing and unique because I had always felt as if I was the lone sheep in a den of wolves when it came to defending God on the internet.
Hello, I wanted to give my own tribute to Common Filth, as I knew people were collecting these tributes and memorial offerings and things like that. I don't know what has been collected or what has been said. I don't know how long these things usually go on for, but I also don't have a script, so this is all coming off the dome from what I remember. I first found out about Common Filth in about 2014. I was still in high school. I was working at a deli at the time, and one of my friends who I was working with had access to the Wi-Fi at work, so he started showing me videos on his phone, and one of the videos he showed me was one of the Tumblrista videos, and right off the rip, I thought it was very funny. I thought he was saying everything that I was thinking. There really wasn't that many people out that I was aware of, at least, who were saying the things that he was. And I started watching a lot of his videos. I started binging his content, and one of the things that I actually really liked about it, I don't necessarily know if it is related to his main content, but I really liked his Contrast 03 vaporwave music. I think it's done really well. One of my favorite tracks was the Beijing to Mogadishu. And I think there was one like Mahogany something. It was all interior design titles, but either way, it still was really nice, and I listened to it a bunch. I ripped it off YouTube, put it on an MP3 player at the time, my old iPod Touch. Way back when. I don't even know. That was over 12 years ago, so I don't even know if I put it on an iPod Touch. Probably some fucking phone or whatever. I don't know. But yeah. I started watching his videos a little bit and found him on Twitter, I think 2015, 2016. I interacted with him a little bit. He seemed friendly, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. I didn't know where he went. I didn't know where to necessarily look for him. Turns out he was still active. He was doing his own thing, just not on YouTube or Twitter or X the Everything app. So in his eventual return to social media many years later, it was like the return of the king. Got right back into it. I felt kind of stupid for not realizing, oh, he was just on some other website. But whatever, at this point. I still think it's important that his videos and all of his content, everything that he made, be backed up for posterity, just to keep his memory alive. And just from watching all the content that he produced, it's very apparent that Common Filth is a very intelligent man. And personally, I think he was one of the few people who actually had the balls to say what he was thinking publicly on all of his videos and all of his channels and things like this. And in addition, I didn't realize how big of a community that he had gathered over the years. And interacting with some people, I met some pretty decent people. I met some people I consider friends, and I talk to these people regularly. And it's nice to have a community that agrees on most things and have a sense of camaraderie. Just letting people know that they're not alone in what they think. There's people out there who have the same beliefs as you, believe in the same things that you do, and in turn, enjoy the same things as you do. And like I said at the beginning, I didn't necessarily have a script. I've been stopping and starting this recording, re-recording what I've said. I'm not necessarily the best at coming up with these things off the top. But I wanted my words to be heard. I wanted people to know who Common Filth was. I wanted people to understand that he was appreciated, his ideas were heard, and as well as his voice also being heard just as well. I'm not sure what other people have said. I'm sure there are some things that I am forgetting, but the world feels a little bit heavier without Common Filth, and I hope moving forward that everybody remembers his words and carries his message with them wherever they may go. Gone way too soon. He will be missed. Thank you for not only giving me, but everybody else a chance to speak and give their own form of a tribute to Common Filth. I appreciate it immensely. Take care.
This eulogy from A, signed simply A. I found CF back in 2016 or something, a long time ago. I was a teenager who felt an instinctual revulsion to many of the normalized decadences of modernity, but I did not know why. CF helped me realize why. I think my faith in Jesus Christ developed the way that it has because of him. And so, despite not having kept up with him for the past half-decade or so, I have a great debt to him. God bless him and keep his family well. That is A. I thank you for the beautiful words. Alright, this one is from Travis. He says, "My name is Travis, and I live in Canada. I started listening to CF's podcast and laughing at his memes around 2015 with my GF at the time. I followed his social commentary until he died. He made me laugh a lot and deeply contemplate a few things about Western society and my own self. We were around the same age. I'm 36 at the time of writing this, so it hits me extra hard. I'm not a Christian, but listening to CF gave me newfound respect for Christians. I personally interacted with him briefly in his online fan club during COVID. He was always kind towards me, especially when my dog died last year and I was looking for a shoulder to lean on. I hope the soul of CF finds peace and all his friends and family find peace. One of CF's catchphrases was, 'Take care of yourself and be good to each other.' If you are reading this message, I hope you too take care of yourself and be good to the ones you love." That's very, very sweet, Travis, and I thank you. Thank you deeply. Pete Swickles says, "Gonna miss you, CF. See you on the other side." Short and sweet, powerful. Thank you, Pete. Truly. from flateartheangel. Real OG heavy hitter here. I mean it. I fully believe Common Filth fulfilled his life's purpose from God. It was not to entertain or subvert. That was secondary, maybe even tertiary. CF spread the gospel of Christ in an unorthodox and admittedly divisive way. His content reached me and many others who exist on the pale fringes of modernity. I can almost certainly lend credit to my curiosity of what Christianity was truly about due to his work. Christ saved my life in the aftermath of the most turbulent periods of my youth and my existence thus far, and Alex was the messenger of the good news. For roughly a decade, Alex shaped dissident thought in many ways, in ways many people in reactionary circles didn't, and still don't, even realize. Ways even the unsuspecting social media consumer had no idea of. Watch one of the numerous archives of his Tumblristas series. Many conservative online pundits chose to copy this formula since Trump's first term in office. He was doing this around 2014, on the tail end of Obama's calculated detonation of demolition charges planted at America's foundation in years prior. His online output filled a niche that was desperately hard to find online among the disenfranchised. A succinct confrontation of the complete and total spiritual and societal rot-eating away at the Western world. Long before the now monolithic culture war, before discourse on LGBT+ and transgender bathrooms, the political stoking of racial tensions, Alex spoke about those exact things to shine a light on the gangrene underbelly, spreading to assault every facet of our consciousness. When you call your favorite liberal glutton for punishment a cuck, you inadvertently did it because Common Filth's expose of what actually is reached thousands of people on YouTube before his channel was terminated. However, at the heart of it all, Alex gave one solution. Despite our numerous collective trespasses as a people, the gift of grace through Jesus Christ is the only antidote. Politics will not save you. Man will not save you. Only God will save you. America is dying. The West has quite literally, unironically, fallen. Do not put your faith in men. Many derided CF's stance on what would soon form the alt-right. In hindsight, it is amazing one person could so accurately predict what that movement would become before being blown away by the winds of time. Doomed to exist as a boogeyman for octogenarian MSNBC viewers and cosmopolitan homosexual bloggers, in his final years after a long hiatus, he expressed regret at the anger he often showed on his podcasts. His later return showed him as a level-headed, firmer in his own faith in God. However, with how milquetoast and go-along to get along 99% of Christian online figures are, I would wager many people in his audience would never even consider Christ or salvation if he didn't take the approach that he did. I think this summarizes his work. Stop settling for impotent platitudes. Stop accepting lies and sugarcoating that fall on itching ears. Desperate for any savior except for the actual savior, all for sake of keeping the so-called peace of the rapidly decomposing, rotten status quo. Ignore sodomite orders. That was incredible, Flat Earth Angel. And thank you. Hold the fort. You're getting a transmission from a very special guest. Who is it going to be? Wait a moment and guess. I'll wait. Who is it? Who is incoming? Who is about to appear? Well, you're all wrong. Here goes, as he said.
Hey, Alex Common Filth, dearly departed, but always beloved. A legendary Latino and podcaster in Christ. This one's for you, and it goes. Nash was a legend, blew minds in the alleyway. Nash was a legend, dropping bars in the heat of summer's day. Nash was a legend, stole the whole scene, left us in a daze. Nash was a legend, 93 stories still hit like a blaze. Nash was a legend, made the room shake with that wild energy. Nash was a legend, living so loud it's still echoing in me. Nash was a legend, gone too soon, but the myth'll never fade. Nash was a legend, chocolate rain of chaos the best way. Much love from Tonia and Chrissy.
Now, I don't really know what that was.
Nash was ripped. Cornered white man in the alleyway. Nash was ripped. Overpowered in the heat of summer's day. Nash was ripped. Rob Africans of their ejaculate. Nash was ripped. Some men starve while others taste the gape. Nash was ripped. 93 will heal the injury. Nash was ripped. Gangbang by blacks is Kevin's fantasy. Silence now, I want it quiet now. I want to feel the fucking summer when someone down. Down you see, I'm in a spaceship dream. And the red light on your mother lights the screen. When I get my bearings, it's always something new. Living all the
Alexander has passed away. This is a eulogy to him. Most of you will probably not know who he is. He was an OG podcaster, internet personality, and fundamental in my reconversion to Christianity. He opened my eyes in a lot of ways, made my faith stronger. He fundamentally touched my soul and changed me as a human being. And I received this news with great sadness. Without him, I would most likely not be alive today, where I would be a fundamentally different person, as he strengthened my faith in Christ, which got me through mind-shattering pain in the worst moments of my life, this one included. There was none like him, and there never will be. His ability to put the current zeitgeist into context was unparalleled. His faith was positively unique and contagious. From the regrettably few words I directly exchanged with him, I know all of this. I also know that he achieved his purpose in life like few will ever do. From the fringes of the internet, he led his crusade of truth in an eloquent manner without any peers. He was the first one to open the eyes of fringe media consumers to the truth of our politics in our world. And a lot of the current counterculture derives from him. But he did not do it for self-aggrandizing reasons, as he persisted through being officially persecuted in all forms of communication, a testament to the truth of his message. And throughout all of his online presence, his message was very simple and summed up like this. Man will not save you. Politics will not save you. Only God will save you. Quoted. Surround yourself with people who are walking this path, who say no to the world and actually view things for what they are, who are not afraid to confront evil and call it evil. If that is the path you are on, find others who are on it with you. My walk upon that path is far from over. I hope it applies to you as well. If it does apply to you, I hope we meet upon it someday soon. So with all that being said, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, because nobody else will. Quote from Common Filth. Common Filth Radio, episode 129. Thank you for that, Daniel. That was very beautiful. Some words from Kash. My few words on Common Filth, Alex, and how he impacted me. Honestly, I lived in the sticks, where quite a bit of the shit he shown was already kinda appearing, even during the 2000s era. Remember growing up how popular it was to say you were gay or some shit. Schools actively would look the other way when gay kids would sexually harass male students, etc. I first happened to run across his videos during the 2016 election cycle, I believe, and it honestly made me feel like I wasn't a crazy person, and that I wasn't just imagining this shit. It felt like no one really talked about how generally screwed up the world is besides my dad. Alex reminds me a lot of him, despite the huge differences, to be honest. That's a good thing. Like, before CF, there really wasn't anyone pointing out the general sickness that rural, lower-income white America has. CF's Tumblristas bit kinda lives on in the libs of TikTok. Well, kinda. He was a pioneer. And the thing is, he didn't do it for money or fame or any of that shit. He did it because he believed. And that's rare. Nowadays, as sad as it sounds. He believed that maybe people would listen, or at least the right people will. I miss him. Deep lore is, before I did what I was doing now, I tried to mimic his works, as a few others did, when he stopped doing it for a while. He actually had a few copycat fans, and I was one of them. But my stuff never had the punch he had. I could barely tolerate making the videos. It's draining. It really eats at your soul to compile all that. I didn't even make that many. I can understand why he was so angry for most of his time here online. I feel like he's a rare voice in a religious community. Be faithful, but not blind. He was also funny as hell. I still quote some of his shit from time to time. I'm rambling, but I am going to miss that dude. I was so surprised that he even followed my account, to be honest. I'm glad I got to talk to him, although it was infrequent. I just wish I talked more. But alas, I hope I go up to heaven when I go, so I can talk to him again. It's a lovely message from Kash. I'm not sure if too late to add, or if I forgot to mention, but Common Filth inspired me to seek out church. I feel like if I didn't stumble across his videos, I might not have considered it. I was never atheist or agnostic, but didn't have a strong faith back then. Growing up in a small town in rural Michigan, a lot of what he cataloged was everywhere. People really don't know how disgusting small towns can be with their sickness. Watching his videos made me realize I wasn't just seeing things or going insane that other people saw too. I listened to his podcast a lot. I always thought, even in times when I disagreed with him, that he was not totally wrong. He saw the writing on the wall with a lot of things. He saw how fake most people are, and people hate him for it. People hating him for it, rather, sorry. I'm still surprised he followed me. I just wish I talked more with him. My jaw was on the floor in awe when he returned. I literally thought it was some weird dream. He's one of a kind, and I miss him a lot. I wish more people knew about him. Funny how some jokes he made have gotten popular, but everyone doesn't know who started it. His Nostalgia Wound videos are gems. I miss his editing style too. He was very funny, and I was always envious of his voice too. Man had a really good voice for radio. To be honest, when he talked about how he thought he wasn't making a difference, I think he didn't realize how much he actually did help change for the better by being himself. He helped a lot more people than he knew. Yeah, he wanted to really have bigger waves and be listened to more, but I think in the end, the right people got to hear it, and that's all that matters. I'm keeping you and him in my prayers. Thank you, Kash. From Richard. He says, I used to run the Rome is Burning podcast. We were cool with CF for a long time, but sadly, things turned sour at some point. I tried many times to extend an olive branch, but as most of us know by now, he was a pretty harsh and private person. I always hoped things would be cool between us again sometime in the future, but it never came. He was a major inspiration for me and Gus, my co-host and best friend. I was into general right-wing stuff, and also the sick parts of the internet. I grew up with sites like Rotten. I read extreme literature that you probably got put on a list for ordering. So those early days of Common Filth seemed like that kind of material. I also like to work with my hands, and there was a project I had wanted to do for years. Build a canoe. I found a guide, bought marine epoxy, and premium plywood panels, and got to work. My hands were gloved. Hold on. I'm scrolling. Apologies. And they were constantly covered in epoxy. Making that canoe ruined the clothes I was wearing. I didn't want to ruin my clothes, so I picked a podcast playlist I was barely familiar with and just let it play. Common Filth liked to disturb the listener with stories of people and subcultures that were steeped in evil and degenerate behavior. He didn't wear his faith on his sleeve in the first few episodes, but slowly he talked about it. Listeners would ask, and he would explain himself. How could you see the darkness and not beg for light? How can evil be if there's no goodness it fell away from? I was an atheist and getting irritated, but I couldn't click away without ruining my phone with my epoxy-covered hands. But by the time I finished that canoe, my atheism was barely hanging on. This weird dude and his weird internet show had crashed into my brain and started a process that would end up with me and my closest friends getting baptized. I thanked him many times back when we spoke. He always passed the credit to God. Never claimed responsibility. Gus passed away in 2019, and now with CF gone too, it feels like that weird, intense, and transformative chapter of my life is distant from me. Always try your hardest to seek peace with those around you. Matthew 5:23-24. Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. That was beautiful, and I thank you for that. Thank you. Now some words from Skele. Alex was someone I always wished I could have known in person. I think I discovered his videos when I was about 2015, during a time when I felt anxious and out of place in a world that seemed to be shifting in ways I did not understand. I carried feelings I could not express, and then I found his channel. He put my thoughts to words that challenged me, comforted me, and often made me laugh. Through his podcast, I learned I was not alone, and through his faith, I grew closer to God. He helped me see that trust in God could steady a person when everything else felt uncertain. I looked forward to sending him questions, and I valued his answers more than he ever knew. Beyond his views, I realized how much we simply shared. We loved wrestling, the same games, similar music, we shared the same kind of humor, and it felt like we came from the same corner of pop culture. I truly believe we would have gotten along. Many people admired his main channel. I always had a special fondness for his gaming channel and wished there had been more of it. Alex touched countless lives with nothing more than his voice and his sincerity. He'll be deeply missed, and I am grateful for the guidance and companionship he offered without ever knowing my name. CF, hope you're kicking back with Trevor Moore right now. Viva la raza! Matthew 25:23. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Thank you, Skele. That was really beautiful. Beautiful words from Skele. It was lovely. Now these words from Steve, who graciously shared the stickers with me. I'm truly grateful. Different countries, different generations, and honestly, a lot of the stuff he seemed adjacent to wasn't my lane. But somehow, CF still cut through. I found him back around 2015, just mainstream, YouTube, Twitter, or FairCamp. What struck me wasn't outrage or a performance. CF seemed to really genuinely care about where things were headed and couldn't understand how no one else could see or care. He was early. Very early. When he got pushed off YouTube, what stuck was what he did next. Nostalgia wound. Video game reviews. Creating just for the sake of it. Underneath everything, CF just wanted to make things. Later, I couldn't agree with everything, but his honesty and caring never went away. And that, to me, is rare, and what matters. As someone well on the wrong side of middle age, CF made me realize that the next crowd are going to be okay. They can see. And heck, I could learn some things. Another word for all that is hope. Goodbye, CF. I'm glad I was around to see it. You may be gone, but your legacy is going to live. Steve. God bless you, Steve. Truly. And now some words from Daniel. As we have two Daniels. Two Daniels are participating. Just heard the news. Feeling weak and dizzy. He was the last real human being in the ocean of sewage that is the internet today. It's been nearly 12 years since CF had become a part of my life. A fundamental part of me died today. I never grieved for an internet person until I heard about what's happened. I always had a hunch that he was not long for this world. An exceptional soul like him just wasn't made to live in this demonic torture matrix. He was the anchor of sanity in the world of madmen, always speaking his mind and seeing the world for what it is. No matter how tired of life, his sense of humor and endearing boyish attitude never went away. Our guy, until the end. I wish I could express how much his work spoke to me and shaped me throughout my teenage years and adulthood. Words will never be enough. I am honored that I've been a part of this journey from its humble beginnings, peaks, hiatuses, and beyond. Even if I never interacted with you guys, I know you are real human beings just like him. I pray that God embraces your tired soul and lets you rest in heaven forevermore. You deserve nothing less. Fly high, best in the world. Thank you, Daniel. That was really beautiful, truly. And now I'm throwing in a video that perhaps the general public has not seen. He uploaded this to his Telegram channel, and I'm not so sure whether it has reached so far outside of it. So, for anybody outside of it who is wanting more of him, here goes. This is his Thanksgiving greeting from a couple years ago.
We're looking through the fence, and now we're away from the fence. Why does my favorite time of day have to be the shortest time of the day? I saw a funny meme. It said, oh, winter fans be like, it's 3 a.m. No, I messed it up. It's 3 p.m. What can I say? You know, I go around these places, and it's my favorite time to do it. Not just the time of day, but on holidays where nobody is doing anything and nobody is anywhere. And I sometimes wonder, am I gonna push my luck a little too far one of these days and run into some characters that I wouldn't want to run into? You know, I watched that movie Deliverance a couple times. I still don't understand it. I think whoever made that was just a sick pervert. Or like, what am I supposed to get out of it? Like, Southerners are gay rapists? I mean, there was that dialogue between Burt Reynolds and John Voight where he's like, oh, the system's taking care of me. There's a car up here. I'm going to turn around. Somebody else has the same idea that I do. But yeah, I wonder about the things chilling in the woods. Is that what you say? In the woods? Chilling in the woods. No parking. Fire lane. And my fascination with obsolete consumer technology. I like the aesthetic of it. It reminds me of, ooh, let's look in here. There's the football locker room. Anyway, I was going to show you the basketball hoops, but I don't want you to know where I am. Well, this thing says BAC on it. Blood alcohol content. Oh, I see. Look, it's water. It's the city water and the tower water. And we're gonna go over here now because there's a pile of chairs. What is this, a printer? I have no idea what this is. Made in Germany. Huh. What is this? Oh, power shred. Oh, it's a shredder. There we go. It's a shredder. But anyway, just oh, there's a squirrel up there. Just a simple Thanksgiving greeting to all of you. Hope you're all doing well. Just thought I'd do something a little bit different here. And thank you. Just give a thanks to you. Because, oh, somebody's drinking over here. What are they drinking? There's a can of something. White Claw? Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen White Claw memes? They're very funny. It's like you couldn't even go up the hill here to go litter better, to hide your alcoholism. It's not that hard. Whatever. But yeah, just wanted to thank you guys for following me, listening to me. Maybe I'll do some more of these point and shoot videos sometime soon. By the way, I was on camera. I'm parked right by the camera. So if you're looking at the camera for this stuff right now, you know it's me.
One of the people that I reached out to, which there were many, for this thing, was kind of unexpected, perhaps. I don't know if people know, but CF really enjoyed trappped documentaries. You know, like Gothic King Cobra and My Brother, Which I Care For. He really took a liking to Cameo 93. So, among the rather large batch of people that I know he liked or is connected to or whatever, I reached out to them and some lovely words here. He really, really liked that documentary a lot. He's a big fan. So, here's what Cameo 93 has to say. It's very sweet.
We hope that he was saved, and that he followed Jesus' footsteps. It's hard for us to relate, but we appreciate his support for our channel. You can't believe that the documentary was almost 10 years old. And I'm glad that he pursued Jesus, because I still have struggles and battles to fight. But I'm grateful that I could call him my brother in Christ, and that we will meet in heaven. I don't look at death as departure. We pretty much look at it as a promotion into the kingdom of God. Oh yeah, it's the truth. We will meet again. This is only the short disappearance. The bad feelings that we have is when God is convicting us, because we're not perfect. But as long as we try to live for him, and death is only temporary, because you know, life flies and is crazy. But we'll all meet again in the kingdom of heaven. That is Cameo 93's words. Give him a follow.
Now, on my birthday in 2025, I received the least expected message, or gift, rather, that I ever could possibly receive, and probably the very best gift I have ever had. CF would send me my own little recording, which he said that I could share. And I was on top of the world, I tell you. Like, it's incredible. So, without further ado, here is his birthday greeting to me back in May.
You talked about your sudden allergy development and your recent acquisition of peanut butter crunch. And that got me to look up, oh, what's in peanut butter crunch? And I'm like, oh, okay. They bypassed all of that, so you could eat it. And then I was thinking about the peanut butter crunch sandwich invention. And I thought, you're making yourself a cake, right? Now I'm thinking like a fat kid, right? A peanut butter crunch cake. Now wouldn't that be something? But on this day I was reminded of Romans chapter 14. Paul talking about stuff. I'll just read it. Him that is weak in the faith receive ye, but not to doubtful disputations. For one believeth that he may eat all things, another, who is weak, eateth herbs. Let not him that eateth despise him that eateth not, and let not him which eateth not judge him that eateth, for God hath received him. Who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. When I was schizomaxing, I was like, oh, a birthday. Don't acknowledge your birthday ever again. But other people still would. And I didn't take any offense to that because of that. I mean, there's a lot of good Bible lessons in there, but I zero in on that because of your day in particular. You can treat one day better than another. That's up to you. A day that you hold special. And that's fine, and that's not our place to make anybody feel bad about that. Even though I don't acknowledge much passing of the time myself anymore. I don't even really celebrate holidays. But again, that's up to me, that's up to you, and it's not, again, for anybody to make anybody else feel bad about. But whatever it is you're going to do, maybe you're going to make a cake, maybe you decided, nah, I'm not going to make a cake. That's okay too. Maybe you're just going to have a whole bowl of cereal. I don't know. It's up to you. Maybe you spend the whole day just reading the screenplay to Norbit. That would also be very funny. But all of your life's challenges, of which you are very open about, and I find that very admirable, set it aside, enjoy yourself, you'll get through it. So this is my little birthday greeting to you. Have a happy birthday. Have the happiest birthday that you possibly can have.
Hello from Alex's special internet lady friend, Chrissy. He actually stressed to me that to him I am special, and once referred to me as his one-of-a-kind sweetheart. I never would have guessed any of this would have transpired when I, quote, met him on Twitter back in February. Unlikely to happen, as he'd say. Everybody has wonderful eulogies recognizing this man and his great work in this life. I have been strangely wordless for a while, just looking on at them all. Instead, just pointing and going, work. I have been mostly preoccupied creating art I believe he would enjoy. His own mother recognizing the baseball photo is something he would love. I took that picture on October 15th, so he had passed by then, and I normally am not a photographer and am lazy. But this time I got on the ground and just had to frame that shot. Then edit. A friend of mine even recognized that it's like something that he would have on his old podcast. So I believe he helped me out from heaven on that one. Anything good I can do by him in life is something I prioritize from now on. Our love was pure. In our correspondence, he never really brought up my appearance, and I didn't mind. He liked my selfies. But that was it, besides saying that I look normal, or not ugly. What truly touched me was his saying he wanted to cook recipes for me, that he was genuinely concerned and even fixated on my food allergy, to the point in his deepest despair, some of his ultimately final words to me, he said, "My heart is empty, but what kind of noodles can you eat?" That he would tell me he was worried about me and check in all the time, that he wanted to take me with him should he hit a crypto jackpot, that he wanted to travel to Japan with me and do a project like Vagrant Holiday, who is also surveillance cameraman, but no way would we do that. That I made him play games again for the first time in a long time. He picked up WarioWare GBA one night due to my influence. That he did his final collaborative podcast because I told him I wanted to hear him laughing with friends again, and he obliged even though he was sick. That he would stay up with me until 4 a.m, talking about all of our shared interests, of which there are many. That we would encourage each other with scripture, and our correspondence would be so edifying. That we both covered each other in prayer, the last time he had done so for me having been an hour or so. And that he bestowed me the greatest compliment I could ever receive. I can tell you love God. I once told him the most attractive trait a man possibly could possess, that he could boast of if he wanted to, was that he led so many souls to Christ. In a perfect world, I believe we would have been childhood sweethearts and married. But as this is a fallen world, we would often remark to one another that this is not our home. I told him I love you every day and night, and he returned the same sentiment over and over to the point you could search our chat. That is by far the most said phrase, and personally, it carried the most weight in which I have ever said it. In all my 32 years of life, I have never fallen in love, nor given my heart to a man like this. He and I are tough nuts to crack, hard to get to know, but we truly open up to one another in a way I don't believe I will ever experience again in this fleeting existence. I've never really talked to anyone about this before, he would often say. He would often remark he wished he had found me sooner, but God's will, not our own. When I learned the news he was truly gone, I wept with my whole body and soul. Desperately from the core of my chest, I wailed. I'm not normally like this. He liked that I was an openly silly clown, that he thought I was funny and made him laugh. But this time, I am being truly open about my emotions. I had lost my mirror image, as he once described me. The lone endangered species I thought I would never encounter in my lifetime. The moment I read his last words were "I love you," Nights in White Satin played on the radio. At that very moment, even the radio wailed "I love you," as I was doubled over, covered in tears. He and I didn't believe in coincidences, of which there were many between us. That moment was kino, or pottery, as those freaks would say. Pretty good. We both love Spurdo, America Bear. Silly name. He was the love of my life, and I don't say that lightly. Yes, over the internet alone. Our love was one of God, placing him at the core and center of it. It was perfect love. I'm confident Alex and I will be joined in heaven. In fact, I once had a vivid dream. He and I were exploring up there together. He was not a dreamer of dreams, by the way. He just dreamt of breaking stuff and losing his wallet. Alex, I love you. I am honored to have loved you amidst the worst and ultimately final year of your life. I love you. Isaiah 57, 1-2. The righteous perisheth, and no man layeth it to heart. And merciful men are taken away, none considering that the righteous is taken away from the evil to come. He shall enter into peace. They shall rest in their beds, each one walking in his uprightness. Take care of yourselves.
True love will find you in the end. You'll find out just who was your friend. Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end. This is a promise with a catch. Only if you're looking can it find you. 'Cause true love is searching too. But how can it recognize you unless you step out into the light, the light? Don't be sad, I know you will. But don't give up until true love will find you in the end.
I wish I had ignored sodomite orders, but shout out for common filth, because white people got to stop acting like a bunch of faggots. Yeah, pretty much. You can't keep blaming the Jews forever. They fucking Jews.
Alex, I really hate last words and saying goodbye. I have famously never done this kind of thing even once, but for you I can and I will. The last thing you told me was that we are soldiers in a battle. This implied that life is a battle, and it is, but it's also a game. And the rules are simple, and Jesus told us, "Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also receive." You gave so generously of your time and wisdom, and you helped so many to see the infernal structure of this world. You did this with humor, which so many are incapable of, and you were always informed by the teachings of Christ. Sometimes you only needed to hold up a mirror to make your point, and this is partially why you had so many enemies. People don't like to see themselves unobstructed by their own imaginings. I believe that you had a relationship with God that allowed you to pursue your destiny, and many will waste their lives striving for things which were never theirs, and that is why they fail, and it's often in some sort of humiliating spectacle, but you got right to the point, and maybe you knew that you didn't have a lot of time. All that remains in the wake of your brief time here is love and gratitude for what you did. You changed the course of my life, and your return coincided with the darkest time of my life. Your words were a fire that sustained me when I had lost every signpost and landmark of what a life was supposed to be. Your outrage was mine, and you and I were soldiers in a battle together, awake in a nightmare while everyone was asleep. To anyone listening, Alex and I would often joke about the fact that we both had head trauma when we were young, and rather than make us both retarded, we got the cool kind of CTE that made us both geniuses, like Antonio Brown. Nothing will ever convince me that this wasn't the case, and any evil thing can be used for good if God wills it. Common Filth's later work is his best work in my opinion, and if you haven't listened to his final musings, I strongly encourage it. Alex, I miss you every day. You were a godsend in my life and one of the best friends I will ever have. I'm so grateful that I got to know you at all. Every detractor will be proven wrong, and every imitator will be exposed, and their efforts will bear no fruits. You were able to subvert the mechanisms in this world that suppress people, and you were able to do that because you knew first the kingdom of God, and all of those things were added onto you in everything that you did. If you tell only the truth, you can never be wrong. So it became a meme for a reason. Common Filth was right again. By your words, you are justified, and by your words, you are condemned. Jesus told us this. So until we meet again, Alex, I love you forever. Thank you for being my greatest worldly inspiration, and thank you for being my friend.
This is our street. Ignore sodomite orders!
If you're reading this, I am no longer alive. It was the thrill of a lifetime to get to speak with you. You can cry over my death, you can laugh, you can find my non-existent grave and do silly dances upon it. Remember that King Solomon said that the day of our deaths is better than the day of our births. I am home forever. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ and thou shalt be saved. I love you all, and I hope we get to meet someday.
I'm looking for a wisp of a world, a little bit of a world that I belong to. I feel a strong sense of a need to protect the pure-hearted people who still have some life in their eyes. And all of time, I am a blink of an eye. I didn't do enough. If you believe in God, you accept your inferiorities, your shortcomings as the way that God made you, the way that God intended you to be. You can take comfort in the fact that God has carved out a role for you. Maybe you're not the biggest or strongest. Maybe you're smarter than somebody else. Maybe you're better at fixing cars. You know, you might have some deficiency in some other area, but you have a job to do. You have a purpose. That purpose is informed by God. You can't unlearn things that you already know. You get into these moods where all of these things that you've read, all of this information you've digested, it comes back to you all at once. Any behavior that changes another person's behavior is illegal. I still love music. I still want to create. And you know, I have so many great creative people in this audience that I've accumulated. How could you hate a sheep if you actually look one in the eyes and observe how it behaves? Once you realize what a sheep is, you have to feel a tenderness towards them if you're of a good heart. It's up to us to guide them with kindness for the right reasons, out of the goodness of our heart. Until next time, if there is a next time, and if there isn't, farewell, it's been nice, but until next time.
I know I make you sad, I know it makes me mad. I'm working through the pain that I put you through. I know the way I am, I know the way you're down. Every word I promised when I met you too, I meant it too. said. I know it makes me mad. I'm working through the pain that I put you through. I know the way I am. I know the way you're down. Every word I promised when I met you too. I meant it too.
Stay tuned after the feature for a very special message.
Donald Trump, you know you on this ass. Are you feeling it now, Donald Trump? Hang on a second. I'm gonna be a narwhal for Donald Trump. Look, Donald, I'm a narwhal. I'm such a narwhal for you, Donald. You know you want this. Are you feeling it now, Donald Trump? Donald Trump, you know you want it. I'm not Mexican, so you won't have to deport me, so we can be teammates. I love you so much, Donald Trump. Please don't let me become president. I hope you do.
First of all, fuck you all. Echo loud through the funeral parlor. I just can't erase it. A flash of pain spells your name on my message machine. I just can't erase it. First of all, fuck you all. Echo loud through the funeral parlor. I just can't erase it.
Go out for a pass. I'll hit you on the slant. Fuck. This guy is shaving a tree with a sword. And now he's walking with the sword. Oh no, he's coming towards me. Benui. appreciate all the kind words you people have sent to me, both in public and private. Thank you very much. You know, I said it's being right that keeps me coming back for more, but if it wasn't for you backing me up the whole way, this would have been dead in the water. I wouldn't have developed my mind, my ideas, the correct view that I have today. Even more correct than when I started, and you have played a vital role in that, and for that I am thankful is too light of a word to describe it. Well, that's the one we're going to have to go with. The fight ain't over. Pornography, divorce, single motherhood, sodomy, these are all evil, evil things that the world refuses to acknowledge as evil. So our work isn't done. But like Arini said, surround yourself with people who are walking this path, who say no to the world and actually view things for what they are. They're not afraid to confront evil and call it evil. If that's the path you are on, find others who are on it with you. My walk upon that path is far from over. I hope that applies to you as well. If it does apply to you, I hope we meet upon it someday soon. So with all that being said, take care of yourselves, be good to each other, because nobody else will.
Cut it out. Get out of here.